United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Freely Vogus,
Present.
Page.
She's going to be on.
Yeah.
Oh, she's there.
Okay. Valley,
Here.
Painter,
Here.
Wolfersberg,
Here.
Cummings,
Yeah.
Brackett.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any public comment? You're just here visiting?
Yeah, I'm here for Bow Renewables. Representing Bow Renewables.
Oh. All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we have our consent agenda, and so we have our meetings from August 27th, executive session for August 27th, investments, treasurer's report, and the bills. If there's no questions for Gabby or anybody, is there a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Now Page can vote, can't. Valley,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Wolfersberg,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Brackett.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote.
Okay, first thing under new business is our resolution. And we should pass these, we'll do them separately, both in regards to our personnel policies. We've had discussions on both of those. The information's in your packet. All the revisions are listed there. Is there any questions for Joe, last minute questions? Because I know we.
I do have just one little, and that was provision on the one, but and this is not all the first one, but about, are we provide, is there a separate cell phone for them to be called with that you give them when they're on call or what?
Or, yes, they're gonna call it, there's a phone that they pass off whenever, from Thursday to Thursdays when they're on rotating call. They pass the phone off.
So it's already in place. It's
Yes,
okay.
and it's tied to the dialer system.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Any other questions? Comments? If not, we'll need a motion for each resolution. So the first resolution will be the revisions for personnel policy for on-call duty.
Make a motion that we accept the resolutions.
Second. So you're doing it on call duty first?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, that's what's listed first.
okay, you just need to say that, so I know which one we're doing.
Painter,
Yes.
Wolfersberg,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Brackett,
Yes.
Valley.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote.
Right, the second resolution is minor revision for personnel policy regarding the wastewater treatment operators program. Any questions or anything for that? If not, make a motion for.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
Wolfersberg,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Brackett,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Painter.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote.
Right, the next item on the agenda is approval of this is for the wastewater treatment solar array. This would be the invoice for the first payment. Joe has the breakdown in your packet. And an explanation a little bit on how that is to all work. Is there any questions, or Joe, do you have any further explanations that you want?
Okay, so basically, if you wanted to cash flow it, I've given you a chart for what that would look like over the next 2 years. And we can do that. If you don't want to do that, then I can look at financing options. But if you're good with cash flowing it, the path to do that is put it in this chart that we were provided. Otherwise, if you're okay with that, we'll have the check and the bills for the next meeting.
What do you think? Is the cash flow there, or would you rather see it? I mean, I would like to look at options, just so you don't feel like you're tying yourself down. But if you feel like the cash flow is there, then that just makes it that much better.
I feel we could make it, we just have to be,
Is it that we could do the cash flow option and you have a conversation with, someone from the Longview Bank, just to say if we need to dive into something we can do.
yeah, I can do that.
I would like to have that
That way you're
backup
backup.
plan, that if something comes up unexpected and then you've gotta dive into it, then you've got that
Yeah.
option.
Yeah, so we have the cash on hand, it's basically in a liquid investments is what it's sitting in, so when CDs come due, it's in that, we would front them that way basically. So we can do that, but yes, having that backup financing, I can get terms for that, so you know what we're looking at.
And then as we progress through this, will we be able to see, the income that we're getting from?
Probably not till for a year, I would guess. Or maybe, do you think?
My projection, I started off, the way it,
Yeah, no, the fence is included, was included in that. Okay, this is it mentioned here, so, okay. You're there on the, we're looking at, which wouldn't be anything. Yeah, the first portion of I'm assuming the material invoice will show that, so that's your first invoice out of 3. Okay. And 50% will be the next one, which is for the materials, if I'm not mistaken. So we're gonna have to work with them now, obviously, and get going on that. But, our hands are tied until things get out there and when they're gonna get, as far as, sounds like it's supposed to be done already, and now they keep pushing that back. So once we get a contract, we can actually file a DER with Ameren. We can't really do anything until we get that, because they're like, who are you, why are you applying for this and what that, so then they will look at it and give us, that's when we'll have to get a contractor and then make sure, and, we are all on the same page. That's working together, but, right now, they're talking about moving the entire system. So the meter is moving from where it is, from what I've gathered so far, and then they'll be dropping it in the transmission line for them already. So, so that's kind of where we're at with that stuff. And so they give us, and the store and bunch of, they have to store a bunch of stuff where we're gonna put the array. So, we'll be ready to go as soon as we can get, as soon as we're, we get the green, but have the room and everything's in place for us. But, yep.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and approve the invoice, go ahead and pay the first
I
payment.
make a motion that we approve the invoice.
Second,
Yes.
Brett,
yes,
Valley,
Yes.
Banner,
Yes.
Wolfensberger,
Yes.
motion passed.
If you have any questions, I know, looking at the chart too, there. It explains it pretty good. After talking with Joe, looking at the chart, I felt, pretty good about all of that too. And I don't mind, it's always good to have a backup plan just in case, so that, I think.
Just a little.
At the last meeting, you requested that I reach out to some other municipalities. I don't know if you want to talk about that now, but I've got a handout with the municipalities that I was able to talk to, or I can leave it at the end and you can digest it at your leisure.
Well, we have that in our old business.
Okay.
Section, so unless you need to buzz out or anything,
Nope.
so, but, I know you love hanging out.
Hey.
So, anyway, next item is, discussion and possible purchase of an AED, device for the village properties. There was information, here in your packet that we received from, Steve Peters. I think it's a good idea. I think it's probably something we need to have right here.
They actually brought this up. Well, I watched Mass Play the other night and I thought he was gonna be. I'm just kidding, but no, they brought it up because there is a lot of older people that play pickleball that they thought it'd be a good idea to have one at the park. But what scares me is there some sort of idiot-proof case that these kids aren't out there zapping each other? Is that?
We got to research that with the sports complex, basically put this on here, it's 2,400, basically an AED. And then, for the ones at the one at the sports complex, we never even talked about Cole Park. But the sports complex will have to get an outside. Down the wall, but yes, and, which has extra cost, but then we'll research the ones that obviously that we hope will be vandal proof, but.
Is there such a thing as
I
vandal
don't-
proof?
Not for you to be able to get to it and.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's kind of what we're looking at, and that we gotta determine how many locations, it might be something that's better to address this over a couple, maybe this fiscal year and next fiscal year, and
Is there
It's
any
based on-
state funds for something like that?
I'm not aware of any, but I can ask around. So,
Yeah, I don't, Steve might have an idea too, if there's any grants out there for those sort of things for communities like ours, but. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, I for sure think, having one at our main building, but. I know we're blessed with a great fire department and rescue squad, and their response time is pretty dang good. But I do think it's a good idea to have them, you know, at the very least here, but yeah, the parks would be ideal if we could vandal proof them the best we can.
My concern is why, and no offense, I don't know why you'd have one here. Unless it's about you or Joe or the two
That in a
secretaries.
meeting before.
Because I don't see anybody driving up here tomorrow to say they're.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about feral cats, so I guess as long as we avoid the cat conversation, I'm good to go. Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yes, I would think.
Could you throw a Ring doorbell type thing on top of it so that if somebody came in front of it? it
That's
sets
what
it off so
we
that
take
you
care of
could.
cameras.
Yeah, the cameras are fixed over at the park. We need to get one facing the tennis court still, I mean. They're better than they were.
Is that like on the list or?
No,
It's, yes.
it's
been on
definitely on the list.
So
When it cools down.
So I guess what I wanted to do with this conversation is the priority would be the parks, and then over time, we address other public facilities that we have. You can see in the email from Steve that he mentioned the public works shed and then also the annex building, but over time, our facilities will change. And the sewer plant's also another one. It'd be nice to have, you know, public buildings that there's those available, but if you're okay with doing I only started off here with the sports complex would be the first one we start off with, and
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Someone brought it up the other day at pickleball, that'd be good to have one out there, and I thought that for as many older people that are out there, that's probably a pretty good idea.
for Cog and the sports complex.
Can we just phase them in?
That's what I was thinking about doing, is maybe one or two this year, and then I'm trying to address them next.
That might give us a better idea too, as far as our facilities too, because eventually if Public Works is all out at sewer plant, then you would have one just out there, and that would be Public Works and the sewer plant together.
Yeah.
Because the annex building, I would see at this point, no need for the annex building. I mean, there's usually nobody in there, so. But I mean,
So are you all okay with, yeah, for the next meeting, having two?
Definitely.
Okay, and then we'll look at cabinet options. Go from there.
All business, so here we are. So, we do have the information, if you want to hand that out. So this was the information that we had requested about, additional, or to know other communities who had, you know, what kind of results that they were having with their solar arrays. Which
The cover page were some questions that Joe had asked, check into, just so we had total clarification on the amount, the timing, you know, the federal tax credit, the SRAX money, how long it'll take to receive it. This is wastewater, okay, is the cover page. Then the second page are wastewater plants that I reached out to. And I'm not gonna read word for word. A couple of them I never did hear back from again. A couple of them were very pleased with what they have put in. Plano, the city of Plano actually reduced their wastewater yearly bill from $260,000 to $110,000. They had limited space for the panels, so they couldn't put any more on there. They were eventually hoping to get up to the full 260, but they just didn't have the space to do it. But obviously, $150,000 a year that they reduced their energy bill. A couple of other places, including Mattoon, are looking at solar for their wastewater. Mattoon just signed a contract last week. As a matter of fact, to put solar on their wastewater. So the ones that I was able to talk to on this list were very pleased what they had in place at this particular time.
If we were to do, rector, which I think we're going to. How soon would, if you started the paperwork tomorrow, what are we looking like dollar wise for you to, is there a startup for you to start the paper? Or is that just, you're gonna do it and then nothing's gonna be due till you figure something out? Cause you said the paperwork would take a year. So my thoughts was, if you decided to go this way, you're not jeopardizing any money for at least a year to start a project, I would say, correct or wrong?
So yeah, what we actually, you're kind of going down the road there, we were gonna go to. So instead of you guys sitting there going, oh, you gotta sign a $3 million contract or a $2 million contract, depending on what size you're wanting to do. Okay, what we can do is enter into an LOI, letter of intent, which means that, hey, we're gonna go down this road and research this. Cost you about $10,000, because we have to pay just to put in the application. All right, no matter which way you decide, we all have to go through the same hoops. So with application in and it goes there. You guys have that's the skin you have in the game, right? And then when this comes back, when Ameren eventually comes back, which it's gonna take everybody the same, unless someone's doing something different we're not doing. I won't get into that. But no, so when it gets back, when they approve it, we can go through the steps then of, you get your agreements with Ameren, you get your approval for Ameren, you get your approval for everything, and then we can move forward. That way, that's the way it has to be done anyway, so you guys know exactly what this is looking like. Does that make sense? There's all these hoops and steps you have to go through, but we're not asking, we're actually going, yeah, let's not enter into a dollar of, that's a lot asked of anybody. So let's just say, hey, we'll put in the application, we'll start this process. Whether we get approved or someone else gets approved, it's the same place. It's the same place where Ameren wants their power and is going to use their power. So that's an option. I think it's a pretty good option, limits you guys' exposure, and you'll have a lot more answers before you put anything else on the table. There's a reason why the lease options say 3 to 5 year lease with an option to go further, right? Because this does take a while to get through the process and get it happen and make it happen. So any questions? Does that make sense to you guys? Any questions?
I just think, I don't like my opinions here, so, I just think you've got 3 options. That it's, you go with Bose, that's no skin in the game, and they're gonna give you money, which is great, but they want at least 10 acres, which it sounds like this board doesn't want to give up that much land. You go with Rector, that's gonna cost you some money, that's gonna bring money back in at some point. Art made a conversation with me, that maybe we wait a couple of years and see where we are money wise. To me, that makes no sense at all, because then you're going through this process 2 years from now when you could have had the ball rolling and something started. And C is you just do nothing and keep all your land. And you keep all your money and.
Is everybody adamant about giving up like 10 or 15 acres?
I am,
I like the 4 acres. I like to purchase.
4 acres is the most, I feel.
I think if we did a building out there, we could look at putting something on the building on top.
I just think it's a rare opportunity, but the reality is. If it comes back a year from now, I don't think I'm gonna be on this board, so I'd like to push you guys that direction, because I think it's the best for the village, but I don't wanna make a decision that's gonna somebody else sitting in this chair thinks it's a horrible idea. But, I mean, 10 grand to get the ball rolling in the right direction, then, I mean, that's still a lot of money to throw away if I can't do anything with it.
That would be the problem. No,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is the potential of a switch of people,
Yeah, that may not.
even if we were all,
Yeah.
if a year from now, it's totally different people, then yeah, it's the potential to increase $10,000.
So I mean, yes, I prefer the purchase over the leasing, just because of the land use and that sort of thing. It does seem definitely to be a better financial decision in the end, if, you know, everything all works out as it's portrayed to be. I just, my stance is right now, still the timing with as many big projects as we have going on right now. I'm just, I hate,
That's
yeah.
why I was trying to point out that really nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, because I said the timing to me, if we didn't have so many projects going on and tying up our finances with that sort of thing, you know, would be different, but I hate to tie up all of our financing, and then like I said, when something else big comes our way that really would be beneficial for the village, and then we wouldn't be able to do it because you know, we've tied up to this, and yeah, over time, this will be a benefit to the village. So, you know, maybe the option would be is to think about something like this.
I think I mentioned that legislative thing I went up to in Dwight a couple of months ago. I sat next to a lady that's company does leasing. And she said they've had projects, you know, and we're talking 100-acre projects, 200-acre projects, 2, 3, 4 years before the first shovel of dirt's been turned because of all the hoops the state requires, whether it's ComEd, whether it's Ameren, or whatever the case may be. So that decision to put down the 10,000 to get the ball rolling, it's going to be that same 2 or 3 year period. When it's a year from now, and you're talking about the big projects potentially, this is not like magically we're going to file this paperwork and in 2 months they're going to say, okay, go forward. It's just not going to happen.
I do have some comments looking at the full renewable proposals. I don't believe the 10,000 is going to come directly out of you guys. I believe that's already wrapped up in our proposal. And what we're saying now is it's speed to market and there to get into your queue, into the program. I think the signed program doesn't open back up to June 1st. So we want to be able to get in there, be one of the first ones in there. We'll have to go through it because like he said, it's a detailed study of what upgrades might be associated with it. Typically, we see probably about 100,000 just for the bare minimum upgrades, just that Ameren's going to put in here. And then talking about different levels of upgrades, once you get into either line reconductoring, if there's too many projects on that line, or substation upgrades, which can get into $500,000 to $1 million, depending on what's on that substation. And with all that said, I spoke to ownership on the way down here. I know we would go through that detailed study, and if it doesn't work out for us, we would give you that study. Obviously, there was someone like Rector that could put in like a behind the meter project, just something that works with the village.
My opinion is, and if money was no object, I mean, I think we'd be fine. That being said, to go ahead and offset some of the expensive part, I'm in favor of the Bower. We got nothing out of pocket out there. But if nobody wants to give up, reduce some land, even 10, 15 acres or whatever, and it wouldn't compromise anything there, then there's no need pursuing it. Everybody's got their mind made up.
Well, I would say too, that this board has their mind made up, and you said that nothing has to, you can't even do anything till June, or is the other paperwork will be filed immediately?
Well, the other paperwork can be filed immediately, right? It just
Yeah,
goes into the queue.
goes into the queue. What he's talking about is the Illinois Shines program.
Oh,
Opens back up. I believe it.
Yeah, I don't want to speak in.
Sorry.
June 1st, and then you want to get into that pool, and that pool's already got some projects hanging out from there. So start to fill up.
And I would say too, and I don't want to overstep myself here, but I've been on several boards, am on several boards. I get it. You don't know what the future is, but you guys' responsibility is to do what you think's best now, and then they get to make their decisions later. You know, and I don't, like I said, I don't want any disrespect for anything anybody said, but and this may not be the best decision for you, but I just thought I'd put it out there.
Well, I said, I think they're well, beyond decision-making time, to be honest with you, but I mean, I think we looked at everything that we could possibly look at this point. I don't know that we can learn anything more by delaying. So I guess I would recommend that either you guys make a recommendation one way or the other, and you know, you can make the motion for something, and go from there. I don't know, we need to make some kind of move on what direction we want to go. I know these people here are probably tired of wasting their time.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, but, you know, we've got to make some kind of a move here, and I appreciate everybody giving it a lot of thought, because it is a big decision, and like I said, it's something that the village will, you know, have to live with a long period of time, either through the financing or the benefits and all that combined, or if the fact that we don't do anything, then you're gonna look back at that and say, gosh darn it, we should have done something. So kind of right now, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't, honestly, is how that usually works out, but.
Can I make an offer
Yeah.
without being out of line?
Sure,
If we say 5,000 instead of the 10, and then we put some skin in the game also as far as filing the paperwork, because that is an expensive process. But that way, you, in the queue, you're working your way toward the ultimate goal of having the 3 or 4 acres developed out there.
I make the motion to accept this offer and.
I'll second. Ralph,
Yes.
Val,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed by
okay.
Good suggestion.
Could you call my wife and tell her?
Well, I thank you very much for everybody for being so very patient with us getting through this. It's, it wasn't so new and unknown for all of us, you know, like I said, I appreciate the fact that everybody here takes their decision making very seriously. So, even though it's long and grueling, and I know people out there in Facebook world thinks, you know, we're incompetent, or I'm not sure what all they think, but anyway, either way, it's important that people think seriously about what your decisions are that you make here. So I appreciate that, and I do appreciate your patience. So thank you very much. So, Joe, on to you. Nothing? Mark?
I have nothing.
nothing.
No.
Good forward.
Is Mike online? I didn't hear.
No, so-
No, so I guess there's nothing there for public works. Do you have any updates for public works that you're aware of? I really don't have anything. We have the Samoa on the 26th, so if you could just get back with Debbie. It's the 26th here in St. Joe at 6 o'clock, so if you could just let Debbie or Joe know whether or not you'll be in attendance. Other than that, gearing up for the fall costume parade that I do for the kids in October. And I think, Nora, I decided, I will do that weekend, October 26th, the Saturday before Halloween, probably at 10 or 10:30. I'll let you know for sure on that. But so anyway, any of you are welcome to join leading the parade with a costume. So it doesn't have to just be me. But anyway, that's all that. You guys can come and join.
I have several costumes.
Okay. Anyway, but I can't, am I forgetting anything, Joe?
Where's the Samoa meeting? I mean, I know it's St. Joe, we're at St.
It is at the Gathering Event Center. It's just down Lincoln Street here. Used to be Country Chicks. They have a event center. We're going to do it there.
Okay.
So,
It's garage, so we can park appropriately.
yeah.
You feel like a reminder for
Yeah.
this weekend.
So, But anyway, I can't think of anything else. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I guess I'll have to shoot you all an email or something if I think of it later, but and shoot Nora too, an email if I forgot something. Oh, I know one thing, we've been working on our newsletter.
We got
And
it today. I thought.
did you? Okay, very good. So thank you, Nora. I think Nora did a great job. It's something new that we've been talking about for a long time. I know Tammy and Terry and Joe and I, we've kind of talked about it, and Nora's been working with us, so I'm excited to get that out there, and as time goes on, we're gonna make it better, and so if you have suggestions on what you'd like to see in it at some point, just let us know. We're probably gonna try and do that quarterly, for the time being, and hopefully be able just to get people in the community a little more aware of things, of what we do, and just another good way to communicate and be transparent to the community. So anyway, but that's all I have. Do you guys as trustees have anything? No? So then I guess it's time.
Make a motion to do what?
Second.
Second board.
Friday.
Wednesday, because I want to.